EDUCAUSE members might be aware that the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, or CISA for short, issued a notice of proposed rulemaking last year, which set forth cyber incident reporting requirements for entities that fall within government-identified critical infrastructure sectors. And as you may have seen, EDUCAUSE submitted comments in response to the proposal as part of the formal rulemaking process. Our comments centered largely around the underlying concern that the proposed rule included all of higher education as an entity covered under a critical infrastructure sector, which came as a surprise to many in the institutional community, largely because although a traditionally recognized sector such as healthcare or defense has at times applied to a discrete part of a college or university, institutions have not historically been among these critical infrastructure sectors on their own. And moreover, they are also not mentioned in the government documentation that the rule's authorizing statute references when defining a covered critical infrastructure sector. Furthermore, that underlying statute actually required CISA to engage in stakeholder outreach prior to issuing the proposal, which EDUCAUSE and other institutional stakeholders were not part of, given the sector's historic exclusion from critical infrastructure sectors. And as a result, while the proposed rules requirements apply to institutions, they do not reflect an understanding of existing cyber incident reporting practices and requirements relevant to colleges and universities. Now, the Biden-era CISA developed, issued, and solicited stakeholder comments on the proposed rule, but the Biden-era agency did not get a chance to finalize the rule before the end of President Biden's term. This means now that the rules will be finalized under the Trump administration, which brings new leadership and staff to the agency. Given this situation, the EDUCAUSE policy team saw some value in reemphasizing our concerns with the new CISA leadership team, particularly given the administration's priorities around both regulatory restraint as well as risk preparedness and resilience enhancement. We believe the administration's actions in these areas largely align with our concerns about the proposed rule, so EDUCAUSE recently sent a letter to the agency that contextualizes our underlying comments on the proposal with these executive actions. In a recent EDUCAUSE review article, which we hope you'll read, we discuss this letter in greater detail along with the relevant executive actions. Please take a look.